Okay, so we're live. And of course, as soon as I started this live, my computer was doing a scan. So I just wanted to go over the verdict today, um, plus a couple of other things with the Ethan Crumley thing, the verdict, and a couple other things. Quick live. I usually don't go on here at 8 o'clock during the day, but figured I'd come on here and give an update on it. So let me play my intro, and I'll be right back. All right. So, like I said, I just wanted to come on and go over the verdict today for Jennifer Crumley. Uh, she's this trial's been going on for a while now, and they came out with a verdict today. I think they deliberated for a whole day. Hey, Miss Persevere, how are you? Hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Thank you so much. It took me a year and a half to come up with that name, but I hope people like it. I'm a big owl fan, any type of raptor fan, so we'll be kind of instituting that into some of the lives here to trying to get somebody to come on and do a exhibition for um, birds of that kind. So let's get right to it. The verdict came in today. I'm pretty sure they deliberated for about a day. Um, but anyways, we'll get right to it. This is going to come from Court TV, and let me share this here. I hope everybody's having. Hey, Audrey, how are you? Good to see everybody. I don't normally come on during a day like this, but I figured with the verdict that came in today, I'd come on and do a live about it. Hey, D. Ashley, how are you? Thank you for subbing. I appreciate it. All right, so let's share this and let's go. So for people who aren't aware of this case, her son was, charged with the school shooter, and this is an unprecedented case because they actually brought the mother up on charges, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. So they reached a verdict today. Jinx is here. Hey, Jinx, how are you? Jinx is awesome. Jinx is in here. Oh, Steve is on too? Damn it. Sorry, Steve. I tried to look to see who was live, and I didn't see Steve on. So if I were you, I'd go watch Steve. Huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been informed that you have a verdict, is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you the correct person?
I am.
Could you please read your verdict?
Individually?
Sure.
Okay. On count 1 of involuntary manslaughter as to Madison Baldwin, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. On count 2 of involuntary manslaughter in regards to Tate Muir, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. On count 3, as to involuntary manslaughter regarding Hannah St. Juliana, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. And in count 4 of involuntary manslaughter against Justin Schilling, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Thank you for a woman you can be seated, and I'm going to see Tony's poll jury.
Jury seat number 1, was that and is that your verdict?
It is.
I try not to get involved in these things because, I mean, this is just such a horrible case. Any type of these, any of these trials here, you kind of get a little bit involved in the politics of things. But I just want to know how people feel about this. I don't know where I am on this. I think, I don't know what to think. But involuntary manslaughter, I think that's fair. I don't know.
Jury seat number 2, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 3, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 5, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 6, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 7, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 8, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 11, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 12, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 13, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 14, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury seat number 16, was that and is that your verdict?
Yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that this is one of the hardest things you've ever done. I'm going to ask you to return to the jury room. The 2 remaining alternates are also going to join you, and I'll be with you in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. Jocelyn, I think this is a game changer for sure for these cases going down in the future. And I don't know where I am on this either. But I just wanted to do a live on this.
All right, you may be seated. As we go, and considering.
I mean, I will admit I haven't really been following this case as much as I wanted to because I've been following a lot of other stuff. But this is definitely a interesting situation here because I don't know, just I don't know.
April 9th at 9 o'clock in the morning for sentencing if that.
That should be fine, Judge. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
April 9th at 9 o'clock is fine, thank you.
All right. I'm going to ask everyone to remain seated while the defendant is taking the court clear.
All rise. You may be seated.
So thank you, Dee. her son was charged with school shooter, and they actually they went to charge the mother for helping in this kind of. So they deliberated for I think about a day, and I think the trial was a couple weeks, but they just came down with a verdict today. So it's been all over the news. It's been all over, the YouTube crime channels and stuff. So I haven't followed this case 100% either, but I've been paying attention a little bit. I mean, a little bit of me feels bad for her, but a little bit of me doesn't. That's why I don't think I'm like, I don't have like the greatest opinion on this. But, somebody's got to be held accountable for these things, right? I mean,
Okay, there you go. You watch the prosecution team walk out of the courtroom there. First, Jennifer Crumbley walked out of the courtroom. This is a live look now in the hallway outside of the courtroom.
I mean, I always try to go back to like my days when I was that age, and I did shit when I was that age that my parents knew nothing about. But are they responsible for that? I don't know. Probably not. But when you do something like this here, I don't know.
202, and the prosecution team is expected to make a statement. We will have that for you. This was a big win for this district attorney who went out on a limb and really made history in going after the parents of a school shooter. And at the end of the day,
I mean, I do think that parents are kind of restricted to what they can and cannot do these days, too. But I don't know if that makes any difference. I know parents are very limited to. I know people try to get help for their kids, but it's sometimes that doesn't work either.
the jury agreed with this prosecution, finding Jennifer Crumbley guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Still with us in studio, the dynamic duo, which will be together later today. Judge Ashley Wilcott, Michael Ayala, Marie Pereira, also with us in New York. Reactions from both of you. You first, Judge.
Yeah, obviously this jury found that when you have a child with mental health issues and you provide them a gun, they found that there was gross negligence and it was foreseeable. That's what they had to find. I think they did their job. That was their decision. I have to respect. That's the verdict.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, I wrote the same thing down. What does this mean for parents across the country? Don't ignore your child if they have some mental health issues or expressing some issues. It's not a joke. It's real.
No, I do think that the whole mental health aspect of this whole thing plays a huge role in this, and I think they definitely need to put more funding into mental health, because I think that people like to say that word or those 2 words, but nobody seems to do anything. So I definitely think the whole mental health aspect of this thing is a huge. They need to do more for that.
And then don't buy them a gun at that point. And if you do buy a gun, because everyone has a right to have one, lock it up properly.
And search that backpack. That was the one thing that troubled me. She did not look in his backpack knowing all those things. She just left the school.
Yeah.
Make sure he didn't have a gun. So that part sticks with me.
Marie Pereira, your reaction.
I think
I think she did herself in by not fully taking any responsibility for what happened. I think that had a lot to do with it, accountability. And I think her denying his mental illness really enraged the jurors. And that's what happened. I think if she showed some type of sympathy, some type of willingness to accept that, you know what, I should have seen it and I didn't see it. And I'm sorry for that. She never did that. And I think that's what swayed them towards a conviction, her lack of willingness to take.
The thing is, this is all hindsight shit, right? Like, how many people go through this stuff every day of their life and nothing happens, right? It's just so weird. It's like playing armchair quarterback sometimes, but it's just a sad story, right? It's just not good for anybody. But I think going forward in these things, hopefully none of these things happen again. But we all live in reality, so we know they are. It just depends on where. And I think this is going to be a precedent for things going forward here.
Responsibility for anything that happened.
April 9th is the sentencing date. This charge of involuntary manslaughter carries with it a potential sentence of 15 years per count. The likelihood that these will be served consecutively compared to on top of each other, you would think they have to be consecutive, correct, Michael? And when you look ahead here, and
It's
Oh, you poor thing, D. That's horrible. I feel bad for you. That's awful.
seems to flow from the same act, obviously. And usually when they do that, you get the concurrent sentence. So I think that might be the way it goes in this instance, although there is the specter that to honor each victim, you do run them consecutively. But I think that has been taken care of already with the sentencing of Ethan Crumbley to life in prison without the possibility of parole justice there, and another level of justice here. But I think
Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't get out at all, ever.
justice is probably concurrent.
concurrent, yes. So they would be served at the same time, Judge, meaning that you've got now, and she's not going to be sentenced to 15.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
She's done a couple years, so we're talking.
If she gets 5 years, that'll be amazing. She'll probably get like 5 years, and most probably definitely probation on most of those 5 years. So she'll probably maybe serve like 90 days to a year. Not sure. Unless they throw the book at her, but I doubt it.
Talking about her likely serving what, 3, 5?
That's what I would anticipate. And I just have to say, Michael reads off my notes, Ted. When I have to co-anchor with him, he looks at my notes because I'm the one that said, when you have victims, but I still stand by that. I think there's a potential that the judge is going to say to honor the 4 victims because it's 4 guilties to involuntary manslaughter. She may say, I'm going to do them consecutive, but I think regardless of consecutive or concurrent, it is not going to be more than, in my mind, 15 years at the most. But I think it'll be less total.
So I do want to share. I do want to read this. Hold on a second. I won't go over here, but okay. So involuntary manslaughter gets its name from the voluntariness of the act that causes unaliving, but from the unintentional nature of the crime. So basically says someone causes the unaliving of another person in a willful and often deliberate and premeditated act. With involuntary manslaughter charges, someone commits a voluntary act that may be unlawful but does not include a specific intent to end. So, I mean, that's their definition, and this is coming from findlaw.com. So, I mean, that's involuntary manslaughter usually refers to unintentional unaliving. So, just wanted to read that. It's interesting.
But I think it'll be closer to, I don't know, 7 or 8 maybe.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair.
Is this a chilling effect, Marie Pereira, that And let's face it, this is an elected DA that wanted to make a statement. She went out on a limb and brought these charges. And at the end of the day,
Can I ask you what state you live in? Because they may be able to offer some help for that.
did the verdict really matter? This case got so much attention. I would think message sent, regardless of the verdict, but now it's sent with an exclamation point that you better look out for your kids, especially if you detect anything going downhill in this day and age.
I think the verdict puts a period at the end. Mind your children. Look at them, talk to them, see how they're doing, and don't ignore the obvious signs like she did. I think it sends a message. Parents are responsible to take care of their children. Mind your children.
See that I don't necessarily agree with that, because we've been through a lot of shit too with doctors and stuff like that. Like my daughter, my youngest daughter was diagnosed with what they call PANS or pandas, really young, and if it wasn't for us like going everywhere and trying to figure out what was going on, it's not really one of those most recognizable illnesses. So we had to literally almost just basically reconstruct the whole medical field to get answers on that. So it's not like parents are allowed to get a lot of help either with stuff like this. So, the mental health thing is definitely, it changes the game a little bit when it comes to stuff like this. But,
James Crumbley will be tried. March 5th is his trial date with jury selection. What does that look like? Is it just a repeat here? Or if you're representing him, Michael, what did you learn here that might give you an advantage?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, it's a question I've had throughout this, is do juries hold mothers more responsible for what's going on with their children than fathers, right? Do they hold them to a higher standard? Not even consciously, but the fact that she was out having affairs, we're probably going to hear that he was out having affairs as well, and probably not a guy, at least according to her testimony, that was reliable, wasn't necessarily taking care of the family, bearing part of the responsibility.
I agree, Audrey, because it's like you go to these places and you try to get some sort of sometimes they don't even recognize these things. Doctors won't recognize these things, and medical fields won't recognize these things, and you just don't get any answers whatsoever. So I mean, but this kid here definitely has issues.
Of her not paying as much attention because she had to go out and work because he couldn't provide for the family. So again, I think there are issues in his trial that are different, but I think it's going to look very much the same. And also you're going to have this issue with the gun and who bought the gun and who stored the gun and who was responsible for that. Seemed to be more in his province and conversations he was having with his son. So I think it'll be a little different, but a lot the same.
Yeah, his name was the owner on the gun. He's the one that actually purchased it. And she said it was up to James to deal with the gun at the house, sort of putting the blame on him. It'll be interesting to see if he takes the stand, etc. Let's head out to Michigan now. Legal correspondent extraordinaire Kelly Craft is with us. She's been in the courtroom and has been covering this case throughout. She was there during this verdict. Kelly, set the table for us. I can only imagine what that courtroom felt like.
So intense, Ted. Good afternoon. So, a verdict, obviously, as you've been reporting, has been reached in this case that really has rocked this entire community. So, about 1:15, we got word here inside the courthouse that they had reached a verdict. Now, keep in mind, they began deliberating yesterday, 9:59 a.m. So it went all day yesterday and then into today. We weren't certain that they were going to reach a verdict today, but they.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Probably not the greatest advice, right? Yes, I agree, Jinx. I agree with that 100%. I mean, it's better these days than I guess it was back, years ago, but there's still so much people need to know about mental illness and who it affects, how it affects people. And
Did, and about 15 minutes after they announced that there was a verdict, Jennifer Crumley was then brought into the courtroom, very stoic, just talking with her defense counsel, awaiting the verdict. I overheard Shannon Smith say to her client, just to remain calm, no matter what happens, just remain calm. And then they read the verdict, guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. I was watching Jennifer Crumley. She remained calm. Her head did go down. When the jury was polled to make certain that it was a unanimous verdict, I did notice the floor person, when she was walking out, take a look over toward defense counsel table, and she smiled in a way. I had been watching this particular juror throughout the trial, seeing her reactions to a lot of the things that was said. This is somebody in particular.
so it was unanimous. I wonder why it took a whole day, though. If it was unanimous, I wonder why it took a whole day. Because usually, the longer the jury goes in, usually it's not good for the prosecution. But who knows? I don't really know if it was a whole day because I don't know when they started deliberating yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it was.
That I had mentioned that I had noticed taking a lot of notes throughout the trial and some different reactions. But yes, that's the verdict here. And right now, what's happening inside Jennifer Crumley
These are the real victims here, in my opinion.
was taken away, and then and she's been in prison because she wasn't able to post bond. Her and James have been in prison on $500,000 cash bond each, so she hasn't been able to post bond. So she's been in prison, will return to prison, and then sentencing is going to be April 9th. I will say, after the verdict was read, I turned around, I had a little brief exchange with Mr. Schilling. He is the father of one of the victims in this case. He said he did not want to talk right now, but maybe at a later date. I also did get a statement, I can pull it up on my phone right now, from an attorney who is with the civil case. There's a civil case also pending in this trial, and he said this. I want to read it to you. He said, "I think that given his depressed condition when she texted her paramour that she thought he was going to do something stupid and then testify that she would do nothing differently, in hindsight, that sealed the decision. It showed that it was foreseeable to her and she had no remorse." And so, as we have heard throughout this entire trial, there's been all this information about her personal life. Cared more about horses. That was the prosecution's whole story. She cared more about horses, more about her affair, cared more about all of these things besides her son. They showed pictures of a dirty home. And defense counsel tried to argue men aren't necessarily held to this kind of standard. And
If you get child services involved in anything, I don't care if your house is 100% clean or 100%, they will find that your house is dirty. It's just what they do.
a case like this, obviously that argument did not resonate with the jury. However, with the amount of time that it took for them to reach a verdict, you can tell that there was a struggle to reach this verdict. There was a lot of evidence to look through. Shannon Smith, defense counsel, had encouraged jurors to continue to look through all of the evidence. She brought out mountains of evidence and encouraged jurors to take a look at it, look at the text messages between Jennifer and James, and then reach your decision. So with the amount of time that it took jurors to reach this decision, they did give it a lot of thought. They really were analyzing the evidence, and this is the conclusion that they came to, Ted.
And again, James Crumley is next. He will.
I don't care what anybody says. That kid should never be out in public. He's just he was a ticking time bomb, literally.
Will be on trial, and we'll see a version of what we've witnessed during this case. We understand, Kelly, that the state is going to hold some sort of media availability, or is that what you're hearing? Do we think that we'll hear from Shannon Smith on the defense side and prosecutors?
Well, Ted, there's a gag order in this case, and from our understanding, they are not going to be speaking until after James Crumley's trial.
Is that a payphone? They still have payphones? Wow. Is that actually a payphone? Huh.
Now, I will say right next to me, there's a bunch of media professionals standing here right next to me.
Thank you, kiddo. Thank you. Like I said, it took me a year and a half to figure that out, the name out, but I'm glad you like it. Thank you. Jinx is awesome. I do want to do a little side note here. One of my good friends, YouTube channel, Coach Kev, reached 1,000 subscribers today. So kudos to him. I've been following him since he had like 20 subscribers. So great guy, Coach Kev. Go check out his channel. He's down to earth guy. He's a firefighter. Guy's awesome. Coach Kev is a great guy. All right, so let's continue this here.
Awaiting something that could be just the victims that are walking out from when they were the family members of the victims that were in a back room here. And so that could be possibly what they're looking for. But from our understanding, the prosecution.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate that.
And the defense is not able to comment on anything until after James Crumley's trial. If I didn't mention this, I wanted to mention that after the verdict was read, the lead prosecutor in the case, Karen McDonald, walked over to the victims' families and hugged them and just shook their hands. And you heard her, along with all of the law enforcement that were there, they went up to the family members.
Yeah, Coach Kev is a great guy. He might like, I mean, we don't agree on everything, obviously, but who does? But I've been following Coach Kev since basically day one, and he's come a long way, and I'm glad for him. He's a great guy.
Members of the victims and people that had been in the gallery throughout this trial saying, the family was telling them, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you have done for us. And they hugged. It was very emotional. It really got wrenching to watch because obviously they've lost.
Yeah, maybe that's why. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't followed this case 100%. I didn't watch the trial. But I think sometimes in these cases, they gotta blame somebody, right? There's got to be a scapegoat.
So much.
Indeed. The community suffered so deeply because of this shooting. And we did watch that. We watched that as they filed out of the courtroom. It was moved.
All right, so I'm going to change here. This, I do want to play what the father said. So let's play this here. Hold on a second. Let me stop this. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. It's going to warm up here a little bit in the next couple of days, so that's good news because I got to change the brakes on my freaking car. And it's really hard to do that when it's 20 below zero. So let's. So this is the father reacting here after the verdict.
Echoed throughout every house.
This is one of the victims' parents here
In the country, and I feel it's necessary, and I'm happy with the verdict, even though it's still a sad situation to be in. It's got to stop. Everything that's going on, we have to address everything, and the root cause. Everybody involved. It's accountability, and this is what we've been asking for a long time now, and this is still just one step in the process. There's more to do, and we all have more to do. We all have work now. We all know that we are to be held responsible for anything that we do. So that being said, it's important to sit down and do some deep thinking and reflect on everything that we do every day. It's a milestone, and
Hey, Honeybee, how are you? It's Honeybee. Honeybee's in the house. You like that? I decided I was going to come on, but because of the verdict today on the Jennifer Crumley case, I figured I'd do a quick live on that. Honeybee's awesome too. Honeybee's in here. Back to this here.
it feels like it.
Obviously, it's an unprecedented situation for a parent of a school shooter to be convicted. Why did you think that was an important thing to do in this case?
Because the bleeding has to stop.
I mean, like I said, these are the people that I really feel bad for, right? I mean, they didn't do anything to warrant this. So, I know with all these cases against the defendant, the mom of the defendant, but the victims and the victims' families are the ones that are real. I feel bad for.
There has to be a level of accountability that hasn't been there before. It can't just continue living life with the uncertainty of whether or not our kids are going to come home from school, or are we going to have fun at the game, or anything. It doesn't matter what circumstances, and it's necessary to address it. And,
If you guys can hear me.
long overdue.
I wanted to answer.
Accountability on this level.
So these are the victims here, right? These are the people that really, these are horrible tragedies. It's just terrible.
Years ago could have stopped it. It could have stopped what happened in Oxford, that's for sure.
Mr. Schilling, it took the jurors a day and a half to reach a verdict. What was going through your mind during this time?
It's hard to, I don't know if we have enough time to describe what's going through my mind, because it's tough to sit and wait it out. And
So it was a day and a half. I thought it was just a day. Sorry. Yeah, I agree with the verdict. Like I said, I'm on the fence about these things here, but so a day and a half, usually a day and a half is not good for the prosecution, but I'd like to know why it took that long.
and trying to understand, you wrap your head around it, and you try and grasp as.
Usually a day and a half, there's one person who's holding out usually, or a couple people that are holding out. They try to convince them to, join the masses, but I have no idea.
The gravity of the situation, you understand that it's not about my opinions or anybody else's opinions. It's about the facts, the evidence, and it's about the diligence of the jury. And this is what they did. They were diligent with their decision. They know and they understand the gravity of the situation, and they know the importance of this case, and the fact that they came out with the verdict that they did. It shows that the people have spoken, and the people are tired of the uncertainty of every day.
Can you talk a little bit about what this has done to your family and how you're holding up at this juncture now with this verdict?
That's a topic I don't really care to get into very much. The whole event has obviously had a lasting effect on my family, and the day-to-day, dealing with the day-to-day situations and trials and interviews and press, and it's a chore, and it wears on you and on every level, and the family feels it on every level.
Does this help you at all move forward?
Well, we have been asking for accountability across the board, and this is, as I said, one step towards that. And I feel that it's moving forward. It's going to not necessarily be any easier because of what we left behind, but it gives us hope for a brighter future, and it gives us hope for just something, some kind of I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought, but
Well, you were very emotional at the sentencing. Have your emotions changed in any way after this?
no, the emotions are always going to be there in the back of my mind, in the front of my mind, all around. There's really no level of the amount of emotion that you can have in this situation, and the fact that it's been years and it's still residual effects coming out, and it just happens when it happens, and it's always going to be like that. Something like this is it's a life-changing event, and it's really sucks to be in the middle of it.
I believe I read that you said something, if you tried not to think about it, sometimes it would get worse. And so it's better to maybe think about it.
Sure. I mean, it's pressure builds up and you have to release, and, you can't just let that stuff just linger. You have to let it ooze out however it comes, you know. And that emotions come out in many different ways.
These poor people, you know, they want to say so much more. They just can't, you know, like,
Anger, sadness, and you know, it's all there. I mean, the whole spectrum is there, and you have to let it out. You have to do it in a controlled manner. I feel like I have to do it in a controlled manner, and it's just the way it is. It's the way it's gonna be for a long time, I'm sure.
You mentioned that you.
all right, so that's the end of that. I did want to go quickly here to this. Let me get out of there because this is coming up too. This is definitely going to cover this. This is the Adam Montgomery case that's going to start fairly soon. I think they picked a jury. The jury was picked today and yesterday, so this will be starting fairly soon. So I wanted to give a heads up on this since I'm here. And so this is the case of Harmony Montgomery. If you don't know about this, she went missing for 2 years. Finally, she was reported missing, and the case of the dad is coming up. This guy is just such a tremendous scumbag. But here we go with this.
Adam Montgomery faces several charges, including second-degree murder and falsifying physical evidence in connection to the suspected murder of his daughter, Harmony Montgomery, whose body has yet to be found. Harmony was reported missing in November.
People are innocent until proven guilty, but I don't have to say that because I think this guy's fairly guilty, and I think I hope that he faces the worst possible punishment anybody could ever receive for doing this. Disclaimer, it's just my opinion, but this is just absolutely horrid.
For 2021, nearly 2 years after investigators say she was killed. The details surrounding the crime are heinous. Prosecutors say Adam beat his daughter to death in a fit of rage after a bathroom accident in the car, then moved her body in different hiding places in an effort to conceal her remains.
Trigger warnings here.
Both the prosecution and Adam's defense attorneys prepare for trial. In the latest courtroom filing, the defense now says,
What a tough guy. What a big tough guy. Oh, God.
They want several pieces of key evidence to be kept hidden from the jury. The attorneys representing Adam say prosecutors plan to present what could be damning evidence against their client. They say prosecutors plan to share disturbing details that include Adam allegedly purchasing 40 pounds of pelletized limestone, another 40-pound bag of limes, a power grinder, a metal cutting diamond blade, a lithium-ion battery.
So they still haven't found her. I know they were down, I think it was last year, they went down to Revere, Massachusetts and looked down there, but it'd be a miracle if they find her.
And charger, all for the purpose to conceal Harmony's body. But in court documents filed by the state, it further explains the grisly and...
I don't like her either, you know, but I understand what they have to do to get conviction, but I don't like the person he was with either. I think she probably knows more than she's letting on. But this guy here is a real winner. I mean, they were living out of their car, for God's sakes.
Telling details prosecutors say will help support them in trial. In a 12-page response to the defense motion, prosecutors say Adam's estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, informed officers he purchased lime.
You can post that here if you want, Jinx. Post that here. Yeah, absolutely. Jinx is awesome.
Because he believed that would assist in decomposing Harmony's body and prevent her body from being found. Kayla also revealed to investigators that he had Harmony's body in a bag and that at one point he took the body out of the bag and into a hot shower to manipulate the body to put her in.
Yeah, they had a Catholic Medical Center bag. This is just insane. This is annoying.
Pieces. The documents go on to state investigators later obtained bank records from Adam and Kayla's shared account that revealed more. According to records, in February 2020, a cash withdrawal was made from the account at an ATM located directly.
Did I make you a mod, Jinx? If you're a mod, just post. You can post your channel. Anybody can post their channels in here if they want. If they have channels, Honeybee, I know that Jocelyn has Jinx has a page.
Across the street from the Home Depot where Adam worked. Officials say one cash purchase of limes was made on February 15, 2020. Another was made on February 26, 2020. Just one day later, on February 27th, prosecutors say there was a work order made for Adam's apartment to snake the drain of the bathtub. And according to more court documents, officers learned Adam disposed
I mean, what a cute kid. This is just awful.
of Harmony's corpse between March 3rd and March 4th of 2020. Just 5 days after the ATM withdrawals and cash purchases were made at Home Depot, and 3 months after investigators believe she was killed.
What? I thought I made you a mod. Okay, hold on a minute.
Authorities say in March of 2023, Kayla was able to match the bag used to conceal Harmony's body to the purchases Adam allegedly made at Home Depot back in 2020. Fast forward to 2024, ahead of his upcoming murder trial, lawyers for Adam are firing back against his estranged wife, Kayla, saying she downplayed her role in disposing of Harmony's remains. His attorneys say Kayla actively assisted in the manipulation of Harmony's remains and knew full well a saw, blade, grinder, or battery were not used. The defense wants to block any mention of the 80 pounds of lime, a diamond blade, and the power grinder purchases from getting in front of the jury at the upcoming trial, where Kayla is expected to be a key witness. She testified previously.
Okay, what did I do?
Why do you live in the women's prison?
Perjury charges.
Were you convicted of those charges
Yes.
and sentenced for those charges?
Yes.
Were you also charged with receiving stolen property?
Yes.
And those charges were dismissed as part of a were those
Yes.
charges dismissed as part of a plea? Grand jury.
Yes.
Do you understand the consequences of providing false testimony here today?
Yes.
The charges stemmed from an unrelated 2019 incident where Adam was accused of stealing and possessing a rifle and shotgun, then selling them as a previously convicted felon. While on the stand, Kayla testified Adam stole the weapons to swap them out for money or drugs. But she also gave insight into their home life in the months leading up to Harmony's death.
So focusing back on that time period, September, October 2019, what was your life like?
I hate to do a lot of things behind the scenes here because I always screw something up. So I think I just made you a mod, Jinx. Not sure.
Back then?
I was working up until November 2019 at Dunkin' Donuts. I would work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So I seen that she was literally working her ass off, and he was just sitting home doing drugs and living off of her. And this guy is just a piece of dog shit.
And Adam would be home with the kids while I'm at work, and he would drop me off and pick me up from work because I didn't have a license. And then after he would pick me up, I would be at the house with the kids, and he would leave some nights because we were using drugs.
When you say we were using drugs, what do you mean?
Like getting high, using heroin and crack and weed.
And when you say we were getting high and using heroin and crack and weed, who's we?
Adam and I.
And what was your drug of choice?
The defense in this case is going to really try to discredit anything this woman says, but hopefully they're not successful because, like I said, people are innocent until proven guilty, right? I mean, that's what I kind of have to say, but I don't know. This guy's pretty guilty in my opinion.
Choice.
It was both heroin and crack.
Are you sober now?
Yes.
What did it take for you to become sober?
going to jail.
I asked you about your drug of choice back then. What was the defendant's?
Heroin.
What did the defendant do for work back then?
He was home with the kids.
And he'd leave at night, you said?
Yeah, he would leave after I'd be home for a couple hours, and go for rides.
Okay. Do you know, back then, how did you?
Jinx is great. Thank you, Jinx, for posting on all of those things. Honeybee has a channel. Whoever has a channel can post in here. I could care less as long as you're not posting any like XXX stuff. You're good.
Get your drugs.
I had money from my job, and that's what I remember up until we got kicked out, evicted from the house.
And you mentioned Harmony, Declan, and Seamus. How did you support them?
We had food stamps, and my income, which was barely anything at the time.
Adam was ultimately convicted in his weapons trial and sentenced to spend up to 6 decades behind bars. Before the judge handed down his sentence,
I mean, this is how I just, even if I was a defense attorney, I wouldn't be able to defend this guy. I just wouldn't.
Adam denied having anything to do with his 5-year-old daughter's death.
So I understand that I was found guilty by a jury, and I'm not here to dispute that at all. The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims. Probably won't believe me when I tell you that I didn't wake up one morning and choose to become an addict. I don't want to be an addict. And I will spend my
Oh my God! Break out the violins, for God's sakes! Shut the hell up!
time
My
in prison,
God.
utilizing it to the best of my ability to change things about myself. I could have had a meaningful life, and I blew that opportunity through drugs. But I loved my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her. Please
This guy is psychotic.
don't consider anything that relates to those charges. Only consider the facts to this case.
It was a different tune from Adam's 2021 police.
Hello, Lone Pony. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, he's such a horrible person. It just is just horrible. Huh. The only reason why he's saying this now is because he's got handcuffs on him, right?
Police encounter where body cam footage shows officers questioning Adam about his daughter's whereabouts. The footage is captured on December 31st, 2021, the day Manchester police first announced a missing persons investigation for Harmony, who had
That's how they get away with this stuff. I'm telling you, they find suckers every day to believe their story. And this guy, this guy he doesn't deserve to walk ever again outside a jail or prison.
had been seen alive since 2019. Adam was found sleeping in a car in a parking lot when authorities caught up with him.
Been pulled asleep. We make contact right now. Show me your hands.
You guys want to code at all? Or you guys good?
Keep your hands where I can see them. Step on out.
You're just hoping he resists. It just didn't happen, but you're just hoping that he just resists.
Hey, keep your hands where I can see them.
What's going on?
What's your name, my man?
What? Adam.
Adam. You have anything on you?
No.
All right, come right over here.
What's wrong?
I'm just gonna pat you down, make sure you don't have any weapons. Put your hands on top of your head, okay? On top of your head.
What's going on though? What's the problem right now?
All right. Who's this in the car with you?
My girlfriend.
How long have you been back in New Hampshire?
I don't know. For like a day or two.
Where were you before you were here?
With her name.
Sorry?
With her name.
What's her name?
Wow, what's wrong? And Carmel. I'm sorry? Carmel, man? Carmel, man? Where's that? It's up north. It's up north? Yeah. You sure you don't have anything on you? Yeah, I don't have nothing on me. Crazy. I haven't seen you in a long, long time. Okay, what's going on? We got a couple detectives that are coming down to talk to you. Okay. For what? What's that? For what? Just like people are wondering where Harmony is. Okay, we want to talk to him.
Listen to this. Listen to what he says here. I know it's kind of annoying with that car door alarm going off, but
Can I just get a cigarette, please?
he cares more about a cigarette. I mean, I smoke, but if my daughter was missing, I would probably be more worried about that than a cigarette at this point.
I will keep coming to talk to you. I can't. You guys come. I don't want to talk to him. You can have that conversation. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to.
Soon. I mean, people around here have been waiting for this to start forever. This guy is just such a piece of dog crap, and the cops knew it. You know, the cops know this stuff, but there's only so much you can do sometimes.
Because I'm not talking to the police about nothing. You're under arrest. Right now you're being detained, yes. Not under arrest.
I think they were actually hoping he'd pull a gun.
Any particular reason you don't want to talk to them?
I don't talk to the fucking police.
What's that?
I don't. Should I call a lawyer?
Where's your phone at, my man?
Don't worry about it.
Once investigators arrived, Adam was asked about Harmony, but he refused to answer.
What? Am I under arrest? No, you're not. You don't even want to. All right, I got nothing to say. Adam, right? Montgomery. Yeah. Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man? Yeah, I got nothing to say. Right. So hey, man, the only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is. Okay. Okay. So the concern is that you guys are sick, right? You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter. Okay. So I want to make that clear. So you know, I have my body tomorrow, just like everybody else. So you just need to find out where she is. It's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay? Right now, I have nothing to say about you. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm just asking where she is. I have nothing to say. So you don't care if your daughter's okay? I do. I listen. I have nothing to say. Is your daughter? If I'm under arrest, you guys can arrest me. I'm not saying you're okay.
Right? Like, who would do that? Who would refuse to answer these questions? I mean,
I have nothing to say then. You just don't care how your daughter. I do. Obviously, I do. My kid. Yeah. About all my kids. Yeah, but other than that, I have nothing. I remember you talking to me about it at the Elliott because when you were up there, you don't remember me, John. Yeah, I do remember. You do? Yeah. Okay. So I was there to help you out then. I know. I want to make sure you're doing okay. I know you do. I know you will. And I have a job to do. Like I said, you're not in trouble. I'm telling you dead ass right now, you're not in trouble. Okay. I care about how your kids are doing. Okay. My job is to check on kids. Right? John, I appreciate that. I told you. I remember you from up.
see, the problem here is they had 2 years to hide her. So, I think it was 2 years. It might have only been a year. I think it was 2 years. And they could have hid her anywhere. So, if they find her, that'd be a miracle. I know they've checked everywhere.
Yeah, I don't have nothing else to say.
Later during Adam's police interview, he seemingly still played coy about any information regarding Harmony, and more so voiced his frustration about being picked up on assault charges rather than letting investigators know where his daughter is located.
We have a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this Because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am?
We're not doing that. Oh, yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with, that they told you that?
No.
Alright. But you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand, would you agree?
Of course. But
So that's why,
look, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
and again,
Yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
Right.
yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. Been arrested for worse charges. They don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail.
See, the thing is that, you know, a lot of times they go by just body language, inability to even comprehend sentences, right? This guy cares more about himself than he does about his daughter. They're asking him questions here, and all he cares about is the charges that he's facing and what it's just. This guy is just such a piece of crap. It's just absolutely horrible.
They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge
Okay.
and interference with custody.
Yeah, the whole system of child protective services, in my opinion, is just an absolute joke. It just is. It needs to be completely broken down and redone because it's not working.
Okay,
So
so
how did I interfere with custody?
that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, you remember outside of on Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right? So that's what that's all about.
So
Like,
second-degree assault charge, what is this referring to?
well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Explain to me what, if I'm being charged with it, what the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries.
First of all, he's not from New Hampshire. You can tell he's from Massachusetts because that's either a Lynn accent or he might actually be from Revere. That's definitely a Massachusetts accent.
That you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say. But you're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there, how would you explain those?
How would you get those marks? Well, I would love to know when that marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point and they would have said something. They wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of.
What a piece of dog crap, literally. Oh my God. I'll let this go.
All the kids loved being at the house with me.
Investigators later revealed to Adam multiple people saw Harmony with a bruise on her face, which Adam chalked up to just being hearsay, but still refused to speak about Harmony.
I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man.
I know.
I'm begging you to help me because As much as you're hurting inside,
The good news is this guy's just smart enough to dig himself into the dog shit even more and more and more. He's just that intelligent. So that's good news.
I'm also hurting inside, and I don't know how you can sleep at night because I'm sure it's eating it out of you. Am I wrong?
No, it's eating me up.
Thank you, Lone Pony. I knew that they were in the midst of picking the jury. I didn't know whether they started yesterday or today. But hopefully they picked the right one.
I know I'm not seeing my wife, I'm not seeing my kids. You guys are just playing games like this.
Dude, but I'm not trying to play games. Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other
No,
day.
it's not word games.
I got nothing.
Because we care, man. We want to know. This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So
No,
you
I
know
know it's not.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do that stuff too. But it needs to be changed. It's not I don't think it's working for the majority of cases, but who knows? They do a lot of good stuff.
So
Sure.
either get on the bus now or get run over.
I got nothing else to say.
And here's what else we know surrounding Harmony's disappearance, now presumed murder. Harmony was born in June of 2014 while Adam was in prison. Her mother, Crystal Sorey, at the time was her sole caretaker. Between the time Harmony was born until January 2018, she was removed from her mother's care 3 times because of neglect and her mother's drug use. In July of 2018, Harmony's mother lost custody of her because of drug addiction, and she was placed in a foster home. By February 2019, Adam gets out of prison and was granted legal custody of Harmony by a family court judge. But a couple months later, everything changed. Around Easter of 2019, Harmony's mother says it was the last time she spoke with and saw her daughter. In July of that year, Child Protective Services reportedly received an anonymous call alleging abuse after the caller reported seeing Harmony with a black eye. Between July and October of 2019, Child Protective Services made several visits to the home Adam, Kayla, Harmony, and their other children lived in. They ultimately concluded the abuse was unfounded, but the family was at a risk for
This poor kid. My God.
future child welfare concerns. Investigators believe Harmony was killed in early December. In January of 2020, Adam
She's adorable. I mean, she's just adorable. Absolutely adorable.
told a Child Protective Services worker Harmony was living with her mother in Massachusetts and had been since Thanksgiving of 2019. Then a whole year goes by, no sighting of Harmony. By November of 2021, Harmony's mother called police to report that she hadn't seen her since Easter of 2019. Police then questioned Adam on New Year's Eve of 2021. On January 4 of 2022, Adam was arrested and charged with second-degree assault, interference with custody, and endangering the welfare of a child. His estranged wife, Kayla, was arrested 2 days later for theft. She was released from jail in May of 2022, then a month later arrested on perjury charges, accused of lying during her grand jury testimony. She was released a few days later, then rearrested again in September, where her bail was revoked. By August, the state's attorney general announced the investigation is now a homicide investigation. And 2 months later, Adam was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. In November, his estranged wife, Kayla, pleaded guilty to perjury and in turn must fully cooperate in any future proceedings, including testifying in Adam's murder trial. And in another twist, his defense attorneys are seeking to
Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be a slam dunk case. They never are, but I think it's going to be a pretty good trial. I'll cover it. I think the defense is really going to go hard at their witness here, but we'll see.
sever the charges against Adam into separate trials, meaning one trial for the assault charges, another on the murder charge. A judge denied that motion in January. To this day, Harmony's body has still yet to be found, prompting investigators to establish a tip line to help authorities find her. Adam has remained behind bars since his January 2022 arrest and will remain there due to his firearms conviction. Jury select.
Yeah, regardless, I don't think he's ever going to see the light of day anyways, but I don't know. Just a sad thing. It's just awful. I'll be covering this for sure. But I'm going to get out of here. I just wanted to come on and do the update on the verdict on Crumley there. And want to thank everybody for coming in. I'll be live on Friday night, early Saturday morning, I think. Thank you, Jocelyn, Honeybee, Miss Persevere, Lone Pony for coming in. Honeybee, Jinx. Jinx is absolutely awesome. Go check her out. She's got a great accent. Miss Persevere was in here. Thank you very much. Who else came in? Jocelyn. I always miss somebody. Owl on the prowl. Oh, that's me. Honeybee, thank you. Go check out Coach Kev. He's great. Coach Kev is a great guy. I'm glad he hit the 1,000 subscribers. He deserves it. He does great lives. And I wanted to, Audrey Abbott was in here. Thank you, Audrey, for coming in. Go subscribe to everybody. So I'll play my outro and get out of here. I'll see you all Friday night, early Saturday morning. Everybody have a great rest of the week. And everybody stay safe for sure. All right, let me play my outro and then I'll get the hell out of here. Good night, everyone.